So we've created our block, and now we want to add a dynamic move grip to this block. So to go into the block editor from here, there's a couple different ways, but what we're going to do is we're going to grip the block that we want to edit, and we're going to type in BE for block editor. I'm just going to press the space bar to enter. And you'll notice that because we had it gripped, it highlights the name of that block, and we say OK. And so now we are in the block editor with the block ribbon, block editor ribbon up, and our block authoring palette available to us. And so here is the move action. And with the move action, we can use three different parameters. We can use a point, we can use linear, and we can use polar parameters. And so I'm going to do one more thing to this block. I'm going to go ahead and add a second component. So I'm just going to do a circle. And to do that, I'm just going to go C, enter, the keyboard shortcut, and put a circle in here. And you'll see why in a minute, so that we can have multiple move grips within one block. And so remember, our base point is at 0, 0, this lower corner. And so if I were to draw a line from 0, 0, 0, that is our base point, right? Remember when we built that block, we had a different coordinate on that, but when it gets into the block editor, that's our insertion point of 0, 0. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add a parameter. And that parameter gives us something for the action to work with in our block. And so the first one we're going to do is I'm going to add a point parameter here. And so I click on that, and the command line at the bottom says I can name it, I can label it, I can chain description, a palette, and it's asking for a location. So I'm just going to pick a location. I'm going to put it in the center, and I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut of CEN for the center so I can grip the center of that circle. And I'm going to put this little box. It doesn't matter where you put it. It just gives you an idea that that is a position. Now it's showing an exclamation point, which is telling us that it doesn't have an action associated with it. It needs some movement, or it needs some understanding. So what we need to do is we need to add that move action. So I'm going to go over to my action tab here, and I'm going to go to the move command. So now I'm in the move command, and it says select the parameter. We set a parameter, position 1, and I'm going to pick that. Then it wants to know, select the object that you want to move. So I'm going to select just this circle. I'm going to press enter. And then it says, well, where do you want to put that action? And I usually put it right next to the parameter that it's applied to. So you'll notice the exclamation goes away, and now we have a move command associated with our parameter. So we want to test this to see how it works. So go up to our ribbon, our block editor ribbon, and we're going to first just save the block so that it holds the information that we've done. And then I'm going to press test block. And you'll see that it does some movement here and goes into the test environment, and give it a couple seconds. And you'll notice that there is our block. So when I grip that block, we have the insertion point, which shows up over here. And we now have a grip for this circle. And when we pick that grip, now we can move that circle anywhere we want. This is all still a block reference. It's still a block, but I can move that circle anywhere. I can even pick snap points. So I can say END for the endpoint, and I can pick the endpoint of that box, that 10 by 10 box we created. So that's one parameter that we added to this block. But let's go ahead and take a look at the other parameters. So if we have a parameter where we want this box to move in a linear fashion, let's say right or left along a linear path, we would probably pick this linear parameter. And so if I pick that, the first thing it asks for is a start point. And so I'm going to again type in end to give me the grip of end point here. and then I'm going to say endpoint again. I'm typing end in again, and I'm going to pick this endpoint. And so now I have a parameter that has two grips that will be applied to this block. But something that is unique about these parameters is that if you highlight them and look at your properties, it says that it's a linear parameter, but at near the bottom, it's got this miscellaneous category that is a base location. So you can say the start point, or you can change it to the midpoint, which means that you would stretch from the mid. This number of grips. Now, if you change this to say one grip, the original grip goes away, and the second grip is the only grip available. So you can make it so that the user of this block only has one grip to choose from. So I'm going to change this to one so that I have one grip to choose from a move perspective. And then I'm going to have to apply the action to this linear parameter. So I go back to my action tab, and I go to the move command, and I go, okay, what do I need first? It wants to know, well, what parameter do you want to choose? So I'm going to pick this linear one, and then it says, okay, well, where do you want to start your action? Well, I want to start my action here at this grip. So I'm going to pick that, and then it says go ahead and select the objects that you want to include. So I want to include this box only. I'm not going to move the circle with that grip. I'm just going to move the box, the 10 by 10. I press enter, and then it says where do you want to put that? Again, I put it up next to my parameter, and I'm good to go. So I'm going to save. So now I'm saving that information, and then I'm going to go into my test environment again. Again, it's going to take a couple seconds to go into that block testing environment. And so now when I grip this, I have two grips. Well, I have three. I have the original insertion point, but now I can move the circle independent still of that box. But now when I pick this box, and now I'm linearly moving this box, right? So that is what the linear parameter gives us the capabilities of doing. So now we've got one more parameter to take a look at. I'm going to close this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add another circle here. And I'm going to add a parameter for polar. And you'll see what polar does. So let's go ahead and pick it. And polar asks us for a base point, right? So I'm going to pick this endpoint down here, and then I'm going to pick the center point here. Okay, so that is my polar parameter. And the next thing we need to do is apply an action. And so I'm going to go back to my move action. I'm going to go ahead and select the parameter that I want to apply this movement to. And so then it asks me, okay, specify the point that we want to use for the movement. Well, I want to be able to move the circle. So I'm going to pick up here and pick that one. And then it says select the object. So I'm going to go ahead and select the circle because I want that circle to move. And I press enter. Where do I want to put that action? I'm going to put it right next to my parameter over there, and we're good to go. The other thing, remember, is that this parameter down here at the bottom of the properties has the ability to only have one grip. So I'm going to change it to one grip, and it's going to be the grip that I picked second, right? And now let's go ahead and test that. Again, we're going to save so that we're saving all of our information in case it breaks. I'm going to go ahead and go into the test environment again. Give it a couple seconds. And then when we grip, we'll see that we have three different move grips, right? We have the one for the box, we have the one for the circle, and then we have this one, which is going to be around that center point. Now we've moved that. So we've got three objects within this block that can be moved independently by utilizing the grips and utilizing the move grip. So when I say go ahead and close that test, I'll go through and I'll do a close block editor. And when I do that, I go ahead and save the changes to the block. And now I'm in the drawing, right? And here's our block. It works the same way that it worked when we were testing it before, right? So that is the dynamic move grip. Thanks for watching.